For Wheeling University Athletics, I'm Zach Ziegler. It's time for another edition of the Chris Richardson Show, currently joined by Wheeling University head men's basketball coach Chris Richardson. And Chris, you guys have kicked off conference play here in the Mountain East with games against Notre Dame College and then last time out against Alderson Broaddus. Talk about this start to conference play and what you've seen from your team.
Yeah, I mean, we've done some good things, but not enough to win either game. Mountain East Conference, you've got to get the important rebounds. You got to get every loose ball. You got to make shots. You got to keep them from making shots. You got to keep them from getting the shots that they want. And we haven't done those things consistently enough to win either game. Notre Dame's really good, and Alderson Broaddus is good as well. Two teams that were both picked in the top half of the league, and which is where we want to get to. And to be there, we've got to do things a lot better.
And looking at that game against Alderson Broaddus, you guys got out to one of your best starts of the season so far. Talk about that start and kind of how you were able to orchestrate that and come out hot against them.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a game of runs. Really the only game we didn't start well, I don't think, was Notre Dame. Shepherd, we didn't make baskets to start the game, but we were defending. Cal, we were doing both. DeUville, we were doing both. But against AB, I thought we got off to a really good start offensively, sharing the ball. Had several shared possessions, which is something that we track where all five players touch the ball. And so, good start with that. And then made a run to end the first half. I think we were up 4 or 5 and made a run the first half to end the first half, culminating with Brent Price's 3 to put us up 14 going in the locker room. And that's great, but it's a 40-minute game. And as I said, at the beginning of this answer, it's a game of runs, and they made their run right at the start of the second half, which isn't a surprise. They came out with a lot of urgency. They made a good adjustment on our ball screens. And so, we were able to adjust and get back in the game, but it was just one of those nights where, could have bounced either way at the end, and unfortunately didn't bounce our way.
And a couple of guys off to a hot start. We've talked about Marcus Johnson and Brent Price, but another guy who's out to a hot start, John Cordy. He's scoring more than he ever has. He has over 20 points last time out. Talk about him and what he's done really to evolve his game.
Well, first of all, we're playing him more to his natural position, which is, I guess a traditional 4, as you'd say. He's been our 5-man the past few years, and battled down there, but was overmatched most nights on either end. And we were able to make some things work with him there, but for our team to be better, we needed to move him up a spot. And so he's embraced that. He came back in the best shape of his career. He did a great job with his body in the offseason in the weight room, not just getting stronger, but getting a little bit leaner too. He's more explosive. And I think offensively what he's really figured out is he's a guy that can help us at the free throw line, He's going to have, whereas he was overmatched a lot of times at the 5, he's got a matchup advantage a lot of times at the 4 from a physicality standpoint. And as long as he's efficient and direct and going to the basket and not trying to avoid contact, he's going to get to the free throw line. And he's done a really good job at that. He's done a really good job for us in transition. We got to get him making shots as well, but that'll come. And I know he puts a lot of time in the gym, and he'll see the ball go in from the perimeter soon enough. But yeah, he's done a great job, and all 3 of those guys that you mentioned, done a good job scoring for us at various points during the year.
And being that you guys are a younger team with those 10 freshmen and the 1 transfer student, how do you kind of keep them even keel through the ups and downs of a season like you're going to have here in the Mountain East Conference? Yeah,
I think that's part of our challenge. With an older team, that's not as difficult to do maybe because they've been through it. They know that, it doesn't bounce your way one moment. It's going to bounce your way the next as long as you keep working. And so our seniors have done a good job, and our older guys have done a good job of just trying to relay that message and set that example. It's a game of runs, and it's a game that just as quick as you're out of it, you can get back into it, and just as quick as you're ahead 14, you can be down 5. So, those types of things are things that we have to learn, and you hate learning from a loss. But as long as you continue to learn and you continue to grow, then you'll continue to get better. And our goal was always to be playing our best, basketball in January and February, and we're still trending that way. We gotta finish some possessions and finish some games.
Currently joined by Wheeling University head men's basketball coach Chris Richardson. And Chris, here in the early part of the season, you guys have a lot of road games here in November and then the early part of December. Talk about how you handle that, being away from the Alma Grace McDonough Center a lot and kind of having to go out on the road early.
Yeah, you got to learn to do it. You got to do it at some point, so might as well do it early and get your routine down and tinker with it and adjust with it. We've only had one true road game up at Notre Dame so far. I know we'll go on the road Saturday. That'll be our first dual trip with our women's basketball team. So there's some different things when you're traveling together that maybe the average fan doesn't think about. The women's team needs to be there early enough for them to prepare. We've got to get there early enough to eat. But then there's a lot of downtime between the time that we arrive and the time their game starts and the time our game starts. So different things that you had to figure out, what's best for each team, what's best for your team, and what worked for our team a year ago or 2 years ago may not work necessarily for this team. So those are the things you find out. The best thing about traveling is you're together. It's just you. And Jarrett Haynes used to say it all the time, we all we got. And that's how it is on the road. And you got to really embrace that and buy into that. And then go out and put that into practice and have each other's back, on both ends of the floor. So I like playing on the road. There's no better feeling than a road win. They're just really difficult to get, like any win is.
And you guys have a home game first this week against Davis and Elkins, then going out on the road on Saturday, as you said, against West Virginia Wesleyan. Talk about these two teams and kind of how you're preparing for this week.
Yeah, Davis and Elkins is really good. I know Wesleyan likes their team as well, and they feel they've improved. And I haven't really watched them yet, Zach, to be honest, because we take it one game at a time. But Davis and Elkins is tremendous. They're 5-1. They just beat Seton Hill last night, who had just been pounding teams in the early going. I think their closest game before last night, Seton Hill I'm talking about, was 11 points, and Davis and Elkins beat them in double overtime, 100-95. So, they're in year 4 of their rebuild. And this is the year they kind of circled to make that leap forward, and they've certainly done that out of the gate. Sam Rolls, one of the best players in the league, bar none, inside, outside. Doesn't matter position. I mean, he's a point guard, but he does a great job scoring at the basket, does a great job in transition. He's shooting the ball really well, both off the catch and off the bounce. Evan Busby, really good in transition and has played a lot of basketball for him the last few years. And then they've got really good pieces around those guys that understand their roles, that make shots, that do their job, do a good job on the glass. So they're going to be a tough matchup for us, but we are playing at home, and we've got to embrace that and understand what you have to do to win a Mountain East game. And so it's going to be a big challenge for us. Like I said, D&E off to a great start at 5-1, but we're excited about our team and the way we've bounced back after break as well.
And finally, as you guys head to the heart of your Mountain East Conference schedule here, talk a little bit about what you're trying to see from your guys and some of your goals as you guys get going and keep building towards January and February.
It's more consistency. I mean, especially on the offensive end from a shooting standpoint. We haven't made shots, which is a little bit surprising to me because we've shot the ball so well from the beginning of the year all the way up through our first game. And just past couple games we haven't seen the ball go in. So we got to find a way to get the ball in the basket, particularly from the three. And then we got to tighten up some things defensively. We've had some really, really good moments on the defensive end of the floor. I think we are a better defensive team than we've been at any point so far here in my time. But, you got to put it together for 40 minutes. And so I think the biggest thing, like I said, is just consistency, being more consistent in practice, being more consistent on the offensive end in terms of getting into our stuff and running it in an efficient manner. And then on the defensive end, consistently guarding and finishing possessions.
Thanks, Chris. Good luck this week. Can't wait to see you out there.
Appreciate it, Zach. Go Cards.
For Wheeling University Athletics, I'm Zach Ziegler.